Hey, good evening everybody. Kel Casey with your evening update here at the McKinley Fire. We do have breaking news. We're officially able to report 10% containment on the fire, and that's been on the north side. The Midnight Sun's been working here for a few days. Like we told you, that's the hot shot crew out of Fairbanks, and they have put in containment line, tied it into this upper swamp here, and that is showing on tomorrow's map, black line. The other thing is, we have had more sophisticated aerial flying to get the mapping. We've been talking about some of the challenges of getting through the smoke to get an accurate fire's edge. And so the acreage has actually decreased to the accurate count of 3,752 acres. That's going to change the shape of our polygon a little bit tomorrow. For example, in this corner, it never actually crossed the river down here, so tomorrow that'll pull in. This is still yesterday's map with the old acreage, if you could see it up there. And then our personnel count continues to increase. So as we've been telling you, we've been ordering more and more crews. They continue to arrive. We're up to 273 firefighters. And let me give you a better idea of what they've been doing today. So again, the direct hand line is in mop-up, tied into the swamp. We do have the swamp features, but as the locals know, we've had less moisture in our swamps than normal. So it's not like the old day swamps where you could just have it tie up in there easily. There's still some concern, so that's when we put the hot shots and the crews down the line where the dozers can't go. In this area just north of East Hidden Hills, so this is the Hidden Hills access point. There's been a fuel bed in here of black spruce. This map is actually, if you can see it up close, it's all the fuel types. This is a really thick stand of black spruce, and so this is a trouble spot we've been working on. We've been trying to catch this and go direct and not let it go over East Caswell Lakes Road, which it has not. So it's still on the west side of Sheep Creek. It's holding there. We had an original dozer line that the fire walked over the last couple of days, and they reestablished the dozer line. So we have 5 dozers working, and that dozer line is in. It's getting plumbed. We have the dozer line and hand line from the crews coming up this side. Again, it's not over the water there. It's on this side, which is great. We did have a spot fire out here today that we were able to get retardant. It's about 10 to 20 acres. Got retardant around it. Tomorrow we'll put dozer line around it, and that's under control. It is showing us, though, that any localized wind can kick up the flames and create a little bit of a problem. So that's what we've been working on. We also have the drones in here now to help us out. Those are the unmanned aerial surveillance drones that we utilize in coordination with our air attack to look at the fire through the smoke so our fire crews know exactly where any hidden heat is. Those are our drones. That's a BLM Alaska DNR force. That's what we do with our drones. The public is not allowed to fly drones anywhere near fires because it grounds our entire Air Force. So just want to make sure we're clear on that. This is our break it down session where we give you the play-by-play. So we can fly drones, but if you fly drones, we can't fly anything. Just want to make sure that's clear. The Pioneer Peak has been working up the west side. Operations reporting that this is going well. There was a little spot fire out on one of these areas. It'll show up here one of these days, but we hit it with 25 buckets from the helicopter yesterday, this morning. They checked it. It hasn't shown any heat, so that's a done deal. But we're giving you the good, bad, and the ugly. So if we have a spot fire, we're going to tell you about it. If we have an issue, we're going to tell you about it. We're not trying to gloss anything over, and we've been working with you in that transparent way for the last couple of days. We want to keep that going. And these homes in here, again, there's been good defensible space around them. The White Mountain and the engine crews have been watching these residences and doing the work around them. So the Alaska State Patrol, we've had a lot of folks in the subdivisions that we've been talking to, both directly in person at the evacuation center and also on the telephone in different places. State Patrol is going to have a permanent trooper at Milepost 88 Hidden Hills. We have 5 patrols moving through and around the neighborhoods all day and night, but based on everybody's feedback and the concern of homeowners, we're going to have a State Patrol as of right now on Hidden Hills, stationed right there. So be prepared if you're planning on pulling off from the pallet cars and heading in. I know folks have a lot of concern about getting gas out to their generators for those who have sheltered in place and all those logistical concerns. So again, I don't have those answers for you right here, but of course you can call our number 761-6233 for general fire information. And then if you have somebody who's on the road system who has a deep concern for you, if you're out here, you can send them into the info shop here at the Willow Community Center. We don't want anybody running out of medicine and those type of real life concerns. And we know that there are some of those situations going on. So please, this is not a punishment if you stayed in place. We want to work with you, get somebody in here and have them face to face with our info shop. On other news, we were able to go down to Menard today and meet a bunch of great folks in the Caswell area. I want to thank you all. We'll be back down there in the morning, and we also got to go up to the Upper Susitna today with Ensign Commander Deputy Tom Kurth. Norm McDonald went down south, Tom Kurth went north, and so we got to really remind ourselves and everybody who's in this audience, we're on day 5 of evacuations. That's an awful long time to be out of your house. That's an awful long time to be sleeping in your car with your pets, uncomfortable, uncertain, and we know that. And we're encouraging you, please, if you have been car camping and you haven't had a shower, go to the evacuation centers. They have hot showers for you. Go get food. They have blankets and other coffee and community and those type of things. Tomorrow we're going to work on getting signboards out to those evacuation centers. They've been made. We have the public information officers coming into the unit now. We're staffing up as well, and so we'll have one down at Menard. We'll have one to Susitna, and we'll staple everything to it so you can see the more detailed maps. And I have Julia Rutherford behind the camera. She's our fantastic incident meteorologist, and she's looking to see if we have any questions. And Julia, how are we doing?
We got one question regarding donations and where they can be taken.
Okay, so thank you so much. So I went to the La Dasa camp tonight and had our caterer is there for the fire camp crew. And on the very table that I sat down at, there was a box of stamped envelopes, and I was sitting with Armando and the Rogue River Hot Shots and Jacob Wolf, one of our information officers, and we all looked at that box and said, wow, this public is amazing. So again, to review the donations, just like Sheep Creek Lodge made that very big banner for the firefighters, I'll tell you, every single one of them who drives by that sees that and feels proud inside to have done the work that they've contributed to this effort. So those signs make a big deal. Stamped envelopes and letters, of course, at some point we'll get too many of them, but thank you. We're going to have about 400 firefighters in here. And then at this point, all the local fire departments are saying that they've been given enough. We don't need anything here, but the best thing you can do by far is, if you're still interested in giving beyond the banners and the letters and the thank you notes and things like that for the firefighters, is a donation to the Wildland Firefighter Foundation, which without any question serves any injured firefighter and their family immediately upon any injury happening. And then also, of course, the Red Cross, the fantastic Red Cross volunteers down in north and south in both evacuation centers have been giving their time. 90% of your donation goes to the Alaskan effort here, 10% goes to overhead for full disclosure, and they have that disclosure too. So again, at this point in time, no more goods are needed. It's either cash or thank you cards. Now let's switch right on over to Deska. We want to show you that this is the Deska Fire. This polygon, this footprint, this is the perimeter of it. So for some reference here, we have South Raleigh Lake, North Raleigh Lake. For those of you who can see maybe the park boundary, the state lands versus the white lands, the private lands. So the fire has been sitting kind of in this footprint for a couple days now, and it has not moved much. It's still holding at 2,217 acres, and the Pacific Northwest Team 10 is in place. I do believe that there's talk of a community meeting for this fire tomorrow night in Willow at the elementary school, where we'll have a speaking part to be able to brief you on this if you show up. But I believe that's in the works. Again, that will be finalized tomorrow, but that team would like to have a community meeting right away for all the residents who have been impacted by this fire. But just to speak on behalf of it, this shape has not changed in 2 or 3 days. It's somewhat similar to this. You have these wind events, you have a whole lot of polygon change, and then you have the creeping, and as firefighters start what we call tucking stuff in as they catch it, the shape starts to sort of firm up and finalize. This one, same way, wind driven, and then it hasn't moved very much again. So I can't speak to where all their crews are, but we wanted you to get a visual. Here's Long Lake Road, here's Willow right here, Mileposts 6-9, 6-8, 6-7, coming in off the 1. Oh, these are the mileposts, sorry, 2. So coming in to South Raleigh Lake, that's 6 miles in, and there's your polygon, okay? Here's Red Shirt Lake, so you still have a good mile plus from the southern border of the fire to Red Shirt Lake. And I know that one of the big questions we always get is, has it gotten to Red Shirt Lake? So this is very much telling us the answer is no. And then any other questions?
Which fire is at the, where's the fire at the Chisholm Road at mile 91.5?
91.5 is going to be right at the top of the fire in here. That's where our containment line actually is, up in this area here. And this is the McKinley Fire that's impacted it. Is that the question?
Where is the fire? Just a location more
okay,
specifically.
So here's the milepost. You can barely see this 91 right here, and so this is basically 92. So you're right. That is where the fire. Where we're approximately calling the 91.5 is somewhere right in this area here. So that's the top of the fire, and then right here you can see milepost 84. And again, this has been our priority to not let this cross the Kashwitna River. We do have a full dozer line around this southern bulge. This actually ended up being a bit of a spot fire, but it's completely lined by dozer right now, which is really good news. Our big event we're waiting for is Saturday. That's when Julia has predicted that there'll be winds from the northeast coming in at approximately 15 miles an hour sustained. Temperatures in the low 60s, relative humidities in the 40s. That's a lot different than last weekend where we had relative humidities in the 20s, so half as much, very dry. Temperatures another 10 plus, so in the 70s, and then sustained gusts at 25 and up to 30 and 30 plus. So it's about a lot less, but we're gearing up and making sure that we're ready, so in case this pushes on Saturday, we don't have any impacting the road where we've already let people back in. So there's no discussion of re-entry until we get through this wind event, and that's something you'll hear us say over and over and over again. We're not going to talk about re-entry until we get through the wind event. That's really important for me to know. But why? Because it could very well spot into the black spruce, compromise this road, everybody in here is trapped, and then we have a real big issue, right? So that's why we've put this in a level 3. That's why we've been warning folks about the possibility of impacting the egress road, and that's why we put all our firefighting efforts here and making sure it doesn't head out here after we had all the structures that we could still save safe. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up tonight. We'll be back live tomorrow. We're gonna be live down at Menard about 9:30 a.m. and we'll do our feed down there. Again, post all your questions, and thank you so much for all your support.